Which science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death? Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Your real name's
This is
Christopher,
gonna work.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought so, and I was like, it's not Christoph, but it is. Well, I guess
Christoph
it is.
Hammer, dude. Yeah,
That's your
I'm Jason.
Russian Soviet
Jason
name?
Christoph. Yes, dude. Jason Christoph
you're-
Hammer. That's my alias when I'm trying to infiltrate the sub. When I'm there, when I'm just a lowly. Oh my God, he's a crazy little cook. He's just a little seaman, is what they're gonna call me.
Yeah,
and I'm,
I
like,
mean-
I'm a silly seaman.
I
and then
call
I'm
you
gonna.
semen on the rigs.
Oh yeah, dude. I can't wait to infiltrate my freaking native sub and then get in there and then I just shoot them and do some weird things.
I was gonna stop you, but I just wanted to see how much you did.
Oh, I could keep going, but I saw the look
So-
on your face.
so-
I need to. Yeah, we need to
This
end this.
is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan Christoph Hammer over there.
yeah.
I don't have a cool name. It's gotta be. It's definitely like Agent Robertson, something.
Oh yeah, Robertson. Yeah, that's the alias.
So you might be wondering why John's talking about his Russian sub in his pants or whatever, but we're talking about it's June when we're recording this. If you're listening to this from the future, hello, it's June where we are currently, in the year of our Lord 2024 or whatever, and
It was Father's Day.
we're doing dad movies for June. It was Father's Day this weekend. We're doing dad movies, and this week's movie was The Hunt for Red October. I was gonna say with Sean Connery, but the whole cast is stacked, honestly.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
hella stacked.
cast.
Hella stacked, and like, Tom Clancy. That's a.
Well, we'll
I
get
saw
into
that.
that.
I saw that name in there, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. Like this is. I get the caliber of this movie now. I thought this was going to be a lot low budget, like Seagal style.
Oh, okay.
But no, this got a high ass budget, and it was shot great. I'm happy that we watched this. Happy Father's Day, by the way. Though there's 1.5 fathers here.
Yes, that's right.
You're the one, and
I
I'm
know, happy
half
Father
a father.
to you and your dog.
Yeah.
So, yeah, was that your reaction when you saw Tom Clancy in the titles? You're like, oh, okay. Because mine was like,
no, I mean,
mine was that. Oh
no,
okay.
I went. Yeah, no, that was mine was a. Okay.
Yeah,
I was on my couch and I buckled up and I was like, all right, let's see where Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell takes me, dude.
We're
'cause
we're gonna get into it, but I will start off the gate saying that Tom Clancy is like the main problem I have with this. Being based on a Tom Clancy thing is the main problem I have with this movie, and stay tuned to find out why that is. So
yeah, dun dun dun, cliffhanger, baby.
Yeah. We'll be right back after this sponsor. Just kidding, we don't have it.
Throw in a sponsor. All right, now this is for Long Spoon.
Oh,
Is your spoon too short? get a long spoon.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So, for the folks at home that have not seen this movie, or it's been a long time. I mean, it's been over 30 years at this point. It's
it's been 30 years for me.
That's right. Can you give us a synopsis? I don't want to try.
Sure. I mean, it's
Just
and
make
honestly,
it real basic.
Honestly, the funniest thing
You don't
is
got to keep all the
is,
players. It is pretty straightforward.
It is pretty straightforward in the sense that, it starts off with the Russian military. They're on a sub, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna embark," and it's this new submarine that they're on, and they're taking off into the unknown. And then we come to good old America, and we've got your CIA paper pusher,
Jack
Alec
Ryan.
Baldwin, Jack Ryan, right? Which is a reoccurring character in Tom Clancy novels. Yeah. Anyways, he's the bureaucrat CIA agent. he knows about this sub somehow because he studies submarine Navy
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like the theoretical tech, and they're like, hey, so
Right.
this is like, they're like, oh,
And
yeah,
so-
that's stealth. That's submarine
So
stealth tech.
This movie shows exactly. So this movie pretty much follows that character finding information about this new sub, and then the movie takes place in between submarines. So it's the Red October, which is like the main sub. That's the Russian sub. You find out later, like kind of or 15 minutes in, the captain of the Red October, he's defecting and he wants to come to America so he can give the submarine. He's going against protocol. He's trying to come to America, give the submarine to Americans, and then get asylum in America. You kind of don't know why exactly, just because America's great. America's the greatest place in the whole world.
His wife died,
Yeah.
and the dirty commies didn't care, I guess.
I guess. I mean, get fucked, whatever.
That's
So
kind
anyway,
of, they're like, yeah, his wife. And he's like, oh, they just, bunch of, I'm going to go, anyway. Yeah.
I'm gonna come to America for fucking Salisbury steak or something. Like that was the whole. That's his plot. That's his motivation. And so that's what the main sub is doing. Now the rest of the plot is hinged on the U.S. going, is this submarine good or bad? We're scared of Russia. Submarines scare me. Okay. Now the U.S. They're like, what are we gonna do? They send in Jack Ryan. He knows.
Yeah,
he's
he
like, oh, I know he's going to defect. He finds out.
He keeps falling his way
magic.
up the ladder,
It's
kind of.
It's literally magic that he's finding this stuff out. But then we have Dallas, the U.S. sub that is following that's on the hunt for Red October, and then you have the other Russian sub, which I can't remember their name. Turkey leg or something.
The Skarsgård sub.
The Skarsgård sub.
The one with all the red lights inside. So they're the bad guys.
So, yeah, exactly. And and their sub is looking for Russia so that they can destroy it.
Yeah, because they find out. He sends the letter saying, I'm going to defect to the Russian government, so there's like no going back. And so they're like, oh, we have to sink it. And so the Russians are even like, since they're at peace, because this is a Cold War movie.
The Cold War, right.
They're very much like, oh, they're actually going to come bomb you, America, so you better help us sink this ship. And then, they're all, and they think that that's true, most of them. And then, it comes to a head at the end when Jack Ryan's like, no, I think he's trying to defect. Let me figure it out. And so they finally kind of catch up with it. There's some crazy rendezvous, and they send a signal, and he's like, yo, if you're trying to defect, blink once, And so he does, and then he's like, okay, it's it. And so Sean Connery, who's the captain, he has this whole plan, and he like gets his men who don't want to defect off the ship, and pretends that the ship gets destroyed, but then one guy on the ship still goes rogue, and Sam Neill, who earlier was showing off pictures of his wife, saying, I can't, this is my last day on the job. I can't,
I know. No, dude, it's. I mean, that was like the stupidest thing in the world. He's like,
gonna go to
I
want to
get to Montana, and it's funny. It's like, I guess it's like, that is the archetype plot. That's how it works. That is like the fact that we know he's gonna die at the end isn't a surprise, but it's still. I was like, he's gonna, like, the second he was like, can't wait to see the grasses of Montana. God, it'd be so good to not die on this on this submarine. It'd be really a really great thing for me to not die. The only character that dies. It'd be really great if I didn't die.
Right.
I mean, I guess the Russians die, but that's fucking.
I'm like,
who gives a shit? They're the Russians.
Yeah, they just literally showed up as just the stereotypical evil bad guys.
They were. That made me so mad. That plot line was so lame and not worth it. But anyways, that's the movie though. Really,
Yeah,
it's like
pretty
the
much.
Russians die. It's a happy ending.
Yeah,
America wins.
They have a heartfelt talk. Old Jack Ryan, who loves submarines, he's a submarine nerd and writes books on it.
Yeah.
Captain Nemo, or whatever the fuck his name is, Sean Connery.
Yes.
They have a heartfelt talk against a green screen at the end. And
Dude, I know that was bad. And he quotes Christopher Columbus. It's not even a real Christopher Columbus quote. It's just written for the movie. I found that out. I was like, there's no way that's Christopher Columbus. And it isn't. It's just them. It's basically them saying Christopher Columbus with it crossed out. Tom Clancy crossed out, and then the writer of this movie. I can't remember the dude's name.
So,
the credited writer for this film. It's like crazy. Larry Ferguson.
All right.
But anyways,
that's the gist. I mean, there's like a lot of intrigue and like submarine lingo,
Right.
like trying to be like, It is pretty straightforward, but it's very like what's the word? Like I don't want to say manufactured, but it
diplomatic is kind of
Yeah.
how it works for me.
Yeah.
It shows you like it's supposed to show you the stages.
It's like
of,
methodical, right?
Of like the military and how like that's actually a part that I really enjoyed watching the moving pieces. Kind of like go listen to our episode of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It's like that. It gives me that vibe where you get the insight, and it's not quote unquote completely factual. But Tom Clancy, he has a lot of. It's like when you make a movie like this, they literally they went to all of the branches of government that they were portraying, and they worked aside. They shadowed them, and so it's like
That makes
it's like that
sense.
where it's like a lot of the realism is embedded in this film, and so that's kind of fun. But then it's heightened by film, and that's what I enjoyed about it. I actually really did enjoy this movie. And then I lost Levi to the robot lords.
I can still hear you barely, so it's all good. But
Oh, okay.
so like that's the thing about like this movie. I would describe it as like military competency porn, where it's like look
Yeah.
at all the moving pieces. It's such a well-oiled
Jesus, dude.
machine.
It's like
But that's-
Jack Ryan, his legs got blown off in training. But my God, cut that man some slack. He lost his genitals in the war, and he's still the smartest. He lost all of his genitals, so all his brains
it's like
got
a pot
bigger.
pie down there.
Like all his testosterone went right into his brain, and now he's the smartest man alive. You cut him some slack.
He's the only
Like,
one who could possibly pull it off.
I know, yeah.
So like I feel like we've been kind of ragged on this movie. So but like what are your initial, because this is your first time seeing it, right?
This is actually it isn't, but yes it is, because I saw this
Basically.
film on VHS, I think at like EJ's or something in my grandma's house, because I remember seeing this movie after I saw U571.
Yeah,
U571 I think is the
yeah.
So I saw U571 in theaters, and then I remember going home
We get
and
it.
watching this
You go
movie.
to the theaters.
And I know I
Not
was
anymore.
Like, 10.
Yeah.
I was like 10. I know, dude. I haven't been to a movie since Dune 2, but Dune. Check it out on TikTok. But I freaking remember watching this movie, and so I have U571 and this movie mixed in my head,
Yeah.
and so it's like I'm like, because isn't it like oh my God, who's the director or who's the Kevin? I think it's Kevin Costner in U571.
Is it? Oh, yeah, maybe.
Is it?
I see. I don't remember that movie really. That's another one that like my dad watched and I like casually watched. Because same with this. I like
Oh, no, it's
casually
not.
watched
It's
in
not,
the background, but I don't remember it.
Oh, that's so funny. It's Matthew McConaughey and Bill Paxton.
Really?
Wild, dude.
Bill-
Yeah, God, I do not.
That
Oh my God, it
sounds
really is.
unreal.
I know.
that
Look,
up.
I saw.
You made those facts
Anyways,
up.
so I was a child. Anyways, my God, this is my first impression because this is the first time I've seen this movie, like coherently, and I like it. But it is, I think saying military porn is perfect. Like military competency porn. Great. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to label this. I labeled this, I just called it propaganda, but like propaganda I think is a little too, I think propaganda has like more of a malicious intent where like,
Well,
this is
back.
just that.
This was
it's just
back
like
in like this was the Cold War when this movie was
right.
made.
No,
right
literally
at the
though.
end.
Like yeah,
So it's
like the book was
this
written in
was just
'84,
like
so it's like
America's, go America. I get
Yeah.
it. It's like, as opposed to a lot of more like modern military type movies where it's just like, that are way more like this one at least is like, it's not ultra violent. It's not about like, look how cool it is.
dude.
Call of Duty. You know what I mean?
this is the prime example of a movie being rated PG, and it should be rated PG-13 if not R, just for the fact that it's so boring. Like it's so adult themed.
Yeah.
It's such an adult themed movie, but I get it. It like it's so inoffensive that like I'm like, oh, okay, wow. I saw the PG rating and I was like, yeah, that's appropriate.
Yeah,
That totally
even
works.
though it's like, even though I just didn't like care that much, but like the tension building, like it's the slowly build up of like the possible tensions. Like I knew that things weren't gonna pop off exactly, but it's just like it was there. You know what I mean? Like
I'm very frustrated with the last like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that is what it just so unraveled. It became
a little
it
messy
became too
compared-
Hollywood, and
Yeah.
which is funny to say. Like the frickin' what's his name? Terrence or no John McTiernan. He
didn't he
is
direct, like, Die
an
Hard or
action.
something? Yeah.
He directed. So, dude, actually, can I tell you real quick? This guy is crazy. I couldn't figure out where he went to. He just vanished in 2003. But he straight up, dude, like he's only done like 11 movies, and he did Predator in order: Predator, Die Hard, Hunt for Red October, Medicine Man, Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's a crazy ass run, dude. That's like a 10-year run.
Wait, he did. Okay, I knew his name sounded familiar. He did the original Predator, which we go listen
He did
to that
the
episode.
original. Yeah, I know. We did. Yeah, it's so funny. We like just did Predator, and I
Weird.
didn't put two and two together. Where like Die Hard feels more accurate. I feel like this movie is Die Hard in a boat, like in a submarine. And so like, you know, I
don't know. I'm not the biggest Die Hard fan, but that's like hurts Die Hard. Like, 'cause
I know, right? No, true.
this
And I
is
think,
Die Hard in a
yeah.
submarine, but without anything cool. This is for like, this
Yeah.
is for book nerds
Yeah.
who love submarines. This would be like, see, I feel bad because it's like I think this is a good movie. I just didn't really
Me too.
like it.
It's the Master and Commander though.
That's
I'm
what I was
finding
about
that
to
I
say.
really-
I was to say this
Yeah,
is the
I know you
Master
were.
and Commander, but like without all the interesting shit.
Yeah, right. Without the that was the thing about this movie that really bothered me is they kept trying to keep intrigue with like mysterious actions and mysterious motives, but then there would be a scene where he'd be like, my motive is this exact thing that I'm doing. And then they would continue. Like Sean Connery would be like, all right, men, listen to me. I'm going to do exactly this thing. And this is the thing that's going to happen. And it's going to be flawless. And there's no tension.
It'd
And
be
you're
like,
oh,
it'd be
okay.
like right after it'd be more confusing because I was watched it with Mary, and it's like Sean Connery kills that other guy and makes it look like an accident. At first she's like, "Wait, what's going on?" And we're like, "Is he Rogue?" And I was like, and then I was thinking of like, "Oh, Doctor Strangelove, right? Like fucking Rogue General."
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then it's like, and he's like, "No, well, he's the bad commie, and I'm the good one that's going to America." Like right out,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay." And then he's like, because it's like Sam Neill, the sidekick, shows up. It's just like I can't wait to
Dude,
get
are there-
a round wife.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know. that was actually pretty good though.
That was good.
I
mean,
love
Sam Neill,
that. I loved his.
I screamed when
Yeah.
Sam Neill died because I'm like, what happened to Sam Neill? I miss that guy.
I know. God, yeah, really though. But no, dude, all the character motives are annoying, and then something that frustrated me the most, and I remember this being the movie that frustrated me when I was younger, because they're speaking Russian and it's got subtitles, and it feels nice and authentic, and then credit where credit is due. I think that it's very interesting that they would take it and they would have them speak their normal, their native tongue, and then read a passage, and then it's a universal. Armageddon is like a universal word. And so once they speak that, now it's like, okay, they're still speaking Russian, but we get to hear it in English. And I wonder, actually, I didn't look it up, but I wonder if they shot all of it in Russian for a Russian release. Shit, I forgot to look that up. I wanted to
That'd be
see
cool.
how this was,
Yeah.
distributed, because it's like, I doubt this was like a huge Chinese release, but I mean, sure it probably was, but
I like it
Anyways,
when movies.
my God, I'm going off track.
I like
But
it when movies do that though, because
yeah,
the only
I
other
appreciate
time
that,
I've
but
really seen it.
it pisses me off still.
No,
No,
I
that's
agree.
just it. It's still I hate that like America's. I mean, we're stupid. We're that stupid, so we don't want to read the entire movie.
Right.
This movie wouldn't have made any money if if it was authentic, quote unquote. But
Yeah.
then no one was Russian, so who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter.
It's fine. I mean, it is distracting sometimes when it matters.
Oh,
But
yeah,
like,
definitely.
Normally in movies, I don't care that much. I can suspend my disbelief enough. But it is weird that because Sean Connery's just being Sean Connery, and he's got such a distinct, fucking
He's like
accent,
Scottish as fuck,
Yeah.
dude.
He's like, oh yes,
Even him speaking Russian, I was like, this mother flipper's reading off a napkin. Like he is.
Yeah, right.
Like it's so bad.
The other movie I could think of off the top of my head, which obviously came way later, it's more recent, is Prey, the sequel to the prequel to Predator, right? Because
Right.
they start off talking like in the fucking Native American language, and then but the way they blend into it to show you that okay, we're switching to English now.
Right.
So that, but it's like they're still speaking it. It's like it's nice the way they do it, but yeah, it's like I don't know. I got over it pretty quickly, but sometimes I never fully suspended my disbelief in this movie anyway. You know what I mean? I was never.
Right.
It'd be one thing if I was like, oh shit, I can't believe fucking Jack Ryan. That's not Alec Baldwin. Young Jack Donaghy. Like the actual murder is like. I never was like, oh yeah. It's like I don't know. I was always very aware. I was watching a movie, and like so I was like, I don't know. Like I think it would if it would have taken me out of it, it would have frustrated me more. But I was never like that in it. So
Right.
I was like whatever.
No, I
you know,
think
they're doing what they do. Like I feel like Sam, like a lot of the characters, because it's like this was a stacked cast. Like Sam Neill and like Tim Curry and stuff. Like I feel like they could have done more with it. I feel like they could have pulled.
They didn't give Tim Curry anything, dude. It was crazy.
I feel like
I
they
like
were, like-
really thought he was going to do a lot more conniving behind their back.
Yeah.
He was literally in like 3 scenes. I was like, what?
No, they set him up. I thought for sure it was like, oh, is he the one shooting him at the end? Oh, nope, it's some random guy.
It's some random spy that they knew was there but didn't know, and then it's like, that goes nowhere. There's nothing that happens with that. It's
that bothered me because it's like, even though I knew just from cliches that Sam Neill, after he did his speech, I'm like, he's gonna bite the bucket. Even though I like felt something coming, up until that point, it definitely wasn't that kind of movie. Like I didn't expect, and then I was like, oh, here come the guns. Like they're bringing the guns on the sub. And then I'm like, oh, all the main cast is together in the same sub now. They're in the super secret sub. Cool. And then it's like they have all these external threats of being like, oh, the U.S. is still shooting at them. And then the fucking Russians show up and they're still shooting at them. But then they got to be like, there's this random guy shooting inside the sub now.
Now the Phantom of the Sub is here to shoot guns. Like it's like, and he's in the reactor room. Do you see that? There's 1 reactor, 2 reactor, 3 reactor. It's like and he's like don't. And it's like so dumb that he's like don't shoot the gun in the submarine. Submarines don't like bullets. And then Alec Baldwin's like, God, man, I don't like bullets either. And you're like, this is I don't know. It just sucks.
He literally
like, this movie could have been great.
They kept giving him Dante energy, where it's like, man, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Like, really though. Well, yeah, because his genitals got blown off, so he's like, I'm not supposed to be on the battlefield.
It's I don't know. And then it's like it does right at the end there too. It's like it feels like they cut out a scene because he like shoots the guy. He's like covered in all the fucking oil or whatever.
No, you're right, dude. No,
and then him and Sean Connery just teleport back on the bridge.
Just are there? Yeah, they're just there. And like Sean Connery's fine, 100% fine. They're up at the end on the green screen shot, and he's just sitting there. He doesn't even have a fucking bandage on. They couldn't even. They didn't have the goddamn decency to take his shirt off. Like, why?
I do feel like Sean Connery, like he's like the bigger star or whatever. He came on a set and they're like, all right, guys, Sam Neill, Tim Curry, all you guys gather around here. James Earl Jones. Sean doesn't want to talk in the accent, so we're just gonna drop it. And so they're like, all right, fine. And then at the end, they're like, so he's supposed to run in and get into the climax with you. And he's like, yeah, that's a lot of work for Sean. We're just going to have him get shot and sit out the climactic scene. Alec, we're going to dump this shit on you, and you're going to do it because you're Jack Ryan. And he's like, all right.
Dude, you're not far off. I honestly, I can 100% see that. No, like it literally, Sean Connery got shot, and it looked like he just sat down comfortably and then just sat there and waited. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this movie was fine. Mary. So let me be also fair. Let me preface that. I mean, it's not a preface because we've been talking about it for a minute, but let me say, I watched this movie. I usually watch movies in 1 chunk, more or less, but I watched this movie in like 5 chunks because I was very, very sick yesterday, and I was very tired from being so sick. I fell asleep.
You were on a submarine. You had your sea legs.
I don't fall asleep watching movies like hardly ever, but I fell asleep during this.
Dude, you're becoming a dad.
I know.
Oh my God, it's happening.
I know.
Oh no.
The transformation, it's taken a minute, but it's coming fully effect. But yeah, I fell asleep. Dude. And I was watching it with Mary, surprisingly. She's like, you're falling asleep. And I was like, oh yeah, all right, let's go to bed.
This is the weirdest movie. This is probably one of the weirdest movies in the world for Mary to watch. I would not expect her to want to watch a submarine movie.
I was amazed. Dude, I asked her, so I was like, hey, I'm going to watch that movie tonight for the podcast. Like, are you going to be in the living room or should I watch it in my office? And she's like, oh, well, if you wait a minute, I'll watch it with you. And I'm like, you want to watch The Hunt for Red October with me? She's like, what's it about? I'm like, It's like a Civil War, or not Civil War. It's like a Cold War spy movie about subs. And she's like, yeah, sure. And she liked it. She's into it.
What is going on? What is wrong with?
But
sure, but that's a glowing recommendation for Mary.
Yeah. I fell asleep, and then earlier today, I was like, hey, so I have to finish watching that movie today before the podcast. Do you want to finish it with me, or should I just watch it on my own? And she's like, wait for me. I want to see how it ends. I'm like, oh, okay. So we had kept trying to watch it all night, but then the kids kept interrupting. So we did finally finish it right before the podcast. So.
Mary needs to be on this episode because I need to know why she wanted to watch this.
I didn't get her final thoughts, but I did get the impression that she was annoyed that I was talking a lot of shit at the end. Because it's like the ending is when I get it. It's that's the climax and it's the action, but it's like that is where I was talking shit about the green screen and how you could see straight through Alec Baldwin's hair like he's a ghost. and it's like
it's like the most gratuitous version of screen. It's like it's so frustratingly green screen where they shot the most intense action parts is all practical, but then that's they can't be on a boat. They can't be on a facade.
Yeah.
What? Like shooting at night is kind of tricky, I guess. That's where they're like, because they actually, what's really cool is they did the day for night and the dry for wet shots for all the submarine stuff. Sense. That's all wire work done in a studio.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's sick, dude. Yeah. That's the part I love. The whole time I was seeing it, I was like, oh, cool. These are they're miniatures, obviously, because it's they're not going to build $1 billion sub, but
right.
And so it's and it's cool. It's how they shot the interiors. I everybody out there in podcast land, go to our YouTube. You go to YouTube/Cold of Cinema Knowledge. You will see our video up or wait, actually, we'll go there too. Yeah, that's awesome. But then go to Reddit.
Yeah,
because
I know
I posted. Yeah, that's my bad. I posted a video of the making of, and it shows the behind the scenes and how they shot the interior scenes. Is it's on this gimbal is what it's called, but that basically they just build the room, and the room's on these large hydraulics, and so it replicates the cadence and the swing and the motion of the ocean.
Yeah,
and and they shoot it, on a studio, and it's all shot practically. Because shooting in a boat sounds fucking impossible. Yeah. And so it's cool to see that. And they do a really good job at shooting this movie.
That is really cool because I kind of didn't realize, at first I thought, oh, they're just tilting the camera, classic doing the trick. But then I was like, oh, okay, there's the shot where they, dive deep down. And they start,
that's cool.
That is a cool moment. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, they're actually tilting this. So I'm like, okay, they must be doing something. And then I was like, yeah, maybe they have to be tilting the set or something. But I didn't know it was for the whole thing. Which obviously, if they built it, it makes sense they would use it for all of it. But but no, those honestly, that is one of the better parts about this movie. It flows well together for the most part and everything. But the submarines were cool to be in.
So cool.
They were cool.
It's
sets,
basically
they're not what I imagined too. Is cutting edge for obviously the Cold War '80s. Because when I imagine, I haven't seen I don't watch a lot of submarine movies, but when I do, I imagine, Das Boot and shit, where it's they just, all the valves. I just imagine valves for days.
Yeah.
And this, but
right.
this
it was
is
cool.
State of the
this
art.
is very chilling. This is very sci-fi, is how I like. I was like, oh, wow, this kind of scratching an itch where it feels like they're in space, navigating through, the canyons and stuff was really cool. That was, my favorite scene when they were trying to do that. And he, and it's, and that was, a fun scene to establish Sean Connery's, he's bold, but he has control of his men. He's and he's a good sailor. That's that's the master and commander stuff that I was there for.
Yeah.
When he's just keep going 23 knots, and they're like, Jesus Christ, we can't go any faster. The ship's gonna it's rattling. It's gonna fall apart if we go any faster, sir. And he's like, yeah, I'm Sean Connery. Go faster. I can't do Scottish, but. It's great. That's what I love. And I love that Sean Connery, he showed up on set with a ponytail, and he wanted to be a master and commander style. He wanted to have this ponytail, and the director freaked out. They had to spend $20,000 to fit him with a wig and get his ponytail up in there and have a wig. And then the next movie that they shot together, John McTiernan, was called Medicine Man, and he has his ponytail in Medicine
Shut
Man.
the
Sean
fuck
Connery
up.
gotta wear his ponytail, and so
He's like, I'm not fighting him again on the goddamn ponytail.
I know. I think I for one think we need to figure out how to get Medicine Man into our movie. We should have like an offensive white people month or something where it's like white people that explore, like Indiana Jones, or like
Right.
Medicine Man works really well.
Seriously.
Where it's just like
It's whitewash month.
yeah. But I don't know. Medicine Man looks rough.
Yeah.
but
I mean,
but it's got Sean Connery
with
so.
the ponytail, I guess. So.
I know, yeah. Well, dude, and that's what's crazy is like we watched freaking what is it? The Rose Without a Name?
Name of the Rose, yeah.
Name of the Rose. And like Sean Connery was fantastic in that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's just like his direction and his character, but in this movie, he was my least favorite part. Like I love Sean Connery,
He
but
was fine,
I just
but
hated
he
him.
was
I
just-
hated him for the part.
He's just
But,
so
yeah.
stoic and boring, and like I feel like everyone was kind of underutilized, to be honest. Because like even Alec Baldwin, who is like he's obviously the main protagonist, and like he's doing some stuff, but it's just like his character's so like, man, I'm not even supposed to be here today. Like it's just so obvious he's like trying to do these quips, and like there's so many times that he's like overreacting with his face that is 100% direction. Not to shit on
Yeah.
McTiernan, but it's 100% like, okay, act really surprised. Like it's like
Yeah.
really over the top sometimes, where it's like, I don't know if he's just trying to juxtapose it with like Sean Connery, because it was the exact opposite, where he's like, I'm just.
Well, I
I'm Sean
think
Connery.
I think they did. They clearly did that because he's the new, he's green, and he's not battle worn or anything. So he
has
to
no
be that, like,
genitals.
reaction man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, but you have to show him some respect because I can't remember what he did. He like deactivated a bomb or something, and
he crashed
in,
the helicopter
basic training
crash or whatever.
Yeah,
But
dude, I think one of my favorite characters is that Courtney Vance dude who plays like the on the Dallas submarine. He's the like sound tech or whatever the, oh my God, what's that called? Like the navigator guy who listens. What is it called?
The navigator guy that
he-
listens, right?
That listens. Yeah, the guy who does the sonar. He's the sonar
Oh, sure.
tech like guy, and how he's like the one that's like, he's like, oh man, he's like, I can hear the magma, and it's not magma, man. It's like, it's this special ship.
Yeah, what else?
And, like,
He
I
was
love-
in something
love
recently, and I'm like, don't remember what it was, because I was like, I'm going to have to look it up now. But yeah, no, he was great. Honestly, I would watch a whole movie of just that crew, because it's like him
I know, dude,
doing
yes.
all the stuff,
Yeah.
and then like he's training that other guy, and it's like they like are like, oh, we should have done the shift swap out, but he's still here, and he's so tired because he's like invested and because of his own personal interest. And I'm like, I want to see this movie from all his point of view, though, because that's like a more interesting protagonist almost to me.
Maybe it did. What happens in Patriot Game? Is that another?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's so Patriot Game, Clear and Present Danger. Those are all sequels, but I think they're more Tom Clancy sequels than they are direct sequels to this.
Yeah,
movie.
just probably in universe or something, because it's
they're all yours. Because James Earl Jones plays that same director in all three of
does
them
he?
or whatever. Plays that
Okay.
same official, whatever government official. I
Sure.
can't quite remember what he is, but so like James Earl Jones is the through line. Oh, and that's crazy. That's so funny. So they wanted Harrison Ford for this movie. He was the first. It was Harrison Ford and Kevin Costner. They were the two big names that they wanted attached to this movie. But both were busy. Costner was shooting Wolves.
good.
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
So he was developing that, so he didn't want to do it. And then Harrison
Which
Ford
rightfully
passed.
so, because that was his plan. Like he directed Dances with
Dude.
Wolves, so like
Yeah, I know. Dances with Wolves. We go listen to that episode.
Yeah.
We loved it, and so
yeah.
but so he didn't do it, and so this was Alec Baldwin's first like standout feature. And
Oh,
so
really good, because he did.
kinda-
He
yeah,
did
it's kinda
seem
fun.
like so fresh. Like he honestly, I don't know. Mary said she didn't see it, which is fine. But I was like, for some reason, he was looking like I haven't seen that young Alec Baldwin in a long time.
Yeah,
and I'm
dude.
like, he was giving me like for some reason like Ryan Gosling face. Maybe it's just because it's like
Oh.
I just watched Drive, and like sometimes he was like giving the same expressions or something. But It's
No, but I know what you mean. I'm used to seeing 30 Rock.
yeah.
Alec
I mean, I've been
Baldwin,
watching. We both
like-
been watching 30 Rock recently, and so it's like
right.
And man,
see him in this, I was like, I'm like,
Manslaughter
oh.
Alec Baldwin recently. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know. Yeah. The murder. The what is it? I don't know. Yeah. The gun slayer.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah. So it's cool to see Alec Baldwin be, puppy dog face with
I
his,
like him.
and I'm like, oh, he's hot and he's a good actor, and so like I get why
Oh yeah,
he
he's
is
super
still
hot.
he's so popular. He's like, yeah. Why he's the best Baldwin of them all. So
Yeah, like I don't know, like that's the thing. It's like they all pulled it together, and even though like all the pieces of this movie flow together well, like for how kind of slow and like bloated this movie kind of is, like it did not need to be over 2 hours. It is surprisingly paced well because it's like slow movies can be paced well, and a good slow movie obviously should be.
I was never bored.
No,
I'm
very bored,
disappointed, but
I was definitely
Oh,
bored.
really?
But I was definitely bored.
Well-
But again, like I think that this movie is better than either of us are giving it credit. But or like at least me, because it's like I do think this is a better movie than I had with it. Like I just like there's a lot of things this movie did right that I just personally did not enjoy. And it's like,
sure. I mean, this isn't
it didn't do it
isn't
wrong,
our
but
movie.
it's
This is a dad movie.
yeah, this is a dad movie for like dads that like want. I don't know. Like I feel like it makes you like want to feel smart in a way that's like kind of like and I guess that is a good tribute to dad movies where it's like we kind of said the same thing during The Fugitive, where it's like
Right.
they really set up things to make you seem like they trick you and being like, my God, he's so smart. You'll never be able to outwit him. But then it's just like really simple shit that they just also just cut around when it's convenient for the plot. Like
That dude, that bothered me so much. How it literally when I say propaganda, that's the whole reason. Is like they're like the Russians created an undetectable submarine that is it has like a bajillion warheads attached to it. It could park right next to the Statue of Liberty and blow us all to fucking hell. It's the craziest, scariest. It is the Cold War personified in one capsule.
Yeah.
And like, but then there's like, but it's like, but America can stop it. Don't you fret. Don't you fret, guys. America's out there.
Well,
We
it's
got
not
it.
even.
It takes
It's not
one
even. Americans can stop it, not only physically, but they don't need to because their values are so good. Their values will stop it, and the commies will turn tail.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, you're right. It's even deeper. It's even a deeper layer than just America being like
Because they don't
cunning
even
enough
step up.
to
It's
come
just
in there.
literally like
That's true. Yeah.
the best soldiers that we have that can run the most secret like weapon. They're like, you know what? We're all gonna just fucking.
Right.
We're gonna go to live in Montana because Russia is terrible and America. God bless. The whole time I was just like, God bless America. Like
I know
this
when
movie.
I mean, I think that's kind of on purpose too, is because like they sing like the
yeah,
Russian
sure.
national anthem. I guess I don't know what it is, but it's like, which is one thing also we're not really giving credit for. But I personally didn't like it, but the music was kind of cool. Like it,
Like the
I
marches, right?
I
Like
liked the. It was like it's cool how like there was no other music in it besides like Russian influenced music. Kind
Yeah,
of more.
it was like
so
the
it's just
big
kind of
marches.
interesting.
Yeah, like those are cool.
Yeah, like very very like militaristic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
marches.
threw,
and
they threw
just
me
anthems.
off at first, but like I kind of got into them. Like by the time I wasn't marching
Yeah.
around in my living room or anything, but it's like
right, yeah. I'm not listening to it on Spotify.
that's my
Yeah.
playlist. It's like Russian fucking Soviet marches. But yeah, no, it was cool. I don't know. The whole movie just sat weird with me, and like it was okay. I haven't given it a letterbox rating, but I'd probably give it like 2.5 for me.
Okay.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
that's me too.
like,
two
but
to 2.5
if
is
you
my
go-
out of 5.
if you go to the Reddit, I have a survey there, and for where it's like we rate based on like certain things, and on the survey, again, I'm glad I put this because it's like one is like how do you rate this movie, and then how did your enjoyment with it? Because I'm like I rate this movie higher than I enjoyed it for sure, because it's like for some like it's not a bad movie. Like I do think it does some things poorly, like the green screen and some of the stuff near the end, but like. It does everything it needs to do perfectly fine. And if it's like this is the shit you're into, like I imagine if you were like the kind of guy that it's just like you hate Call of Duty, but you love like SOCOM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is
literally though.
literally.
Yeah, it is that. Yeah.
This is the like, and you love this movie. I 100% get it. Like I totally get it. And honestly, there's not a lot of sub movies, and so like seeing movies about submarines, like the only I was thinking about Leviathan while watching it a little bit too.
Yeah,
and
right.
Especially
yeah, especially how it's shot.
the dry for wet, yeah, or whatever, or wet, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, man, I do like these because I mean we obviously did a whole month on like the ocean, deep sea movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like seeing that I like this setting and like I do think like a good Cold War movie about nuclear subs is dope.
Right.
But
I'm
it's
frustrated that like we spent. I think for me, this could have been fixed. Pacing on this is like half decent, but like you said, it's bloated. And I think if we spent less time on land because it would go to land a lot, and him like getting Alec Baldwin onto the submarine took like an hour. If not an hour and 15, hour 20.
It's like you
and
say,
so I was like, well,
you have to see all the moving pieces, and I'm like, I don't need to see all the moving
no,
pieces.
him having one interview, and then I like establishing that he doesn't like to fly, and then him talking to the government official, and then him in one more scene with all the men when he discovers like, oh, it's his wife. I understand it. What's this month? I know all about him. And then him taking another like helicopter trip and him getting on the sub would be great. And then when he's on the sub, like honestly, the Russian sub is what really bothered me. Like
When
you
Skarsgård
didn't
showed up at the 2/3 mark and was like,
and
I'm
he's
the bad Russian, you know.
Well, no, right, and it's almost like I'm the like incompetent unskilled Russian guy who just shoots first and asks questions later.
He blows up his own sub, and they literally
he blows up his own sub, and it's like you did this to us. You're arrogant. Oh, the hubris of man got us. Like you killed us all, and now we'll haunt your corpse.
It's an allegory for the collapse of the Soviet Union.
I know, right.
It's just, this came before, but still, it's like the weakness
right,
of it.
of course. And it's so silly that they would do that in this. Like this movie could have had a lot more like coherency with just having like Jack Ryan and that like having honestly them being on the sub and like Jack Ryan getting there and like I like their communication between submarines. Like that is something that's where I nerded out when they're communicating and it's through Morse code and it's through pings and it's like it's this through the sonar where I'm like this it feels like magic to me.
Yeah,
like
I
the
like
fact
the
like
sonar and everything more.
Like
for sure.
Master and Commander, at least that makes sense because you physically see them and you're on like you have people navigating the ship itself and like it just feels more like tactile, like people are actually manipulating a boat.
Yeah.
Where this is like you're literally just in a fucking capsule in the water blind. Like it's wild and it's
cool.
really cool to me.
Yeah, it is cool.
And that's what I love.
So I'm like, I
But
want
then
more
this
in
movie-
the setting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. Where this movie, when it does that, it's like I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then they have to like cut to Skarsgård, who's just like, like get him, get him and shoot him.
Cartoon villain, yeah. I think honestly, it's like that's kind of the problem with this movie for me, is it's like if they would have spent a little less time. So it's like this movie is completely plot driven, but the plot is like bureaucratic. It definitely feels like a list. It's like going through a list of shit to like move things along. Where it's like, and I get that like that's the Tom Clancification, where it's just like, it's going through all these little fucking minute details to get through the plot to like here's how point A to point B to point C, and that's like fine. But it's like if they would have spent a little less time focusing on that, a little more time fleshing out a couple of the characters, then it's like I would have been more invested more. You know what I mean? Because that's like I think that's how it always is. Like I don't need it always to be about the characters, but it's like after a while, like the plot's pretty straightforward.
Well, dude, it is frustrating. Sean Connery's not going to be hostile. So the whole time they get on there and they're like, be careful, he might be hostile. It's like we're already convinced Alec Baldwin, our two main characters have no tension anymore because they have both actively said, I have no like remorse and I have no like hard feelings. I don't want to enact violence against against this person. They've both said that. And then when they get together, we know that. All the audience knows this. And so when they're like, oh, God, who knows? There could be a powder keg. That's why they had to introduce Phantom of the Submarine to come shoot at them, because it's like you knew neither of them were going to hurt each other. And so it's like a bummer. I wish they kept that a secret the entire time, and you didn't know Sean Connery was like going to, quick draw on them or something. Like it. But I mean,
it's harder to spend time with him. But yeah, that would have been interesting, because it's like without that, though, there was enough tension going on outside the sub just between the two nations. Like, had they handled both of them better, because it's like when the American guys show up and they shoot the first torpedo, and then Sean Connery's like, watch this, I'll steer right into it. And he steers right into the torpedo, and he's like, my God, you really are the best navigator.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. I mean, he digs on him because he's like, I've read that book, and that book wasn't very good because he had no nerves of steel like me. And he's like, he's standing right there. Yeah, that's the captain.
The best part of that scene, though, is that they're like, he's like, wait, I don't know anything about doing a sub. He's like, okay, sit right here. And then both captains stand right next to him, and he's like, turn to this coordinates. And the other guy's like, you better not do it. And he's like, oh, boy. And he turns to him. I'm like, he's like the least qualified person on the ship to be doing any of that. Why are you guys just taking, I don't know. But it's like there's enough tension outside the ship, because it's like when the U.S. shoots on them, and then they're like, when they realize, they're like, oh, my God, actually, they are the good guys, and our boys are down there. And then obviously you got the like, it does come to a head in a good climax. Like, it is sort of messy, but it's like, I was like, oh, cool. All the main characters, you got Jack Ryan, you got all the dudes from the Dallas, you got Sean Connery's crew, like, they're all on the ship now, and now they're caught in the middle of the two nations. Could have potentially been really interesting. And it was there, but it was like so muddy what was all happening at the end, that it kind of dropped the whole, like, let's go through all the steps to be like, yeah, now it's an action movie. You know what I mean? Which up to this point it definitely hasn't been. But they're like, let's shoot Sam Neill just because we need to wake everyone up. Like
really though, yeah. Like, it's like shooting Sam Neill. I was upset because I knew it was gonna happen, and then when it did, I was like, what?
He's like the only guy.
It's like,
and he's
I know, literally he's the only person that dies.
Like,
it's like,
I would have loved to see Montana. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
it's
okay,
like,
buddy.
Tell Montana I miss her.
Yeah, we get it. I don't know. It was fine though. Like,
right. It's hitting all the beats, and I just think that's it. I think it tried to like thread one too many, like stitches into this, and it just kind of bunched it up and made it bloated. And he could have like lost one thread of Sean Connery being like bad, or the Russian, like, honestly, the Russian ship trying to find them. It would have just been like better if that happened earlier, and they had a little skirmish, and then that was kind of it, and then it was just the American tension of them, who, like, is America going to destroy them or not? And then when just like, because we're like, that Russia like shows up, and then you're like oh okay, here they go, I guess they shot a torpedo, and now they're gonna do like a little loop-de-loo around the torpedo, and you're like, okay, thanks for that last little part. I guess.
It's like, because it is interesting when like the fucking ambassador or whatever for the Soviet Union is like showing up, and when you hear him lie, and it's like, okay,
it's funny.
that's
when
tense, but then at the end he's like, I know, and he's like, we lost this other ship. He's like, you lost another ship? You Soviets can't get anything right. And he's like, oh, okay.
It's like, and it's like, that's how America is, that's the devious deceit that America creates for good. Now we have this, we can look at the submarine without, Russia thinking we got a sub, and we ended war. There's no more war, and we did it. And now we have the Caterpillar sub, which is, it's great. The U.S. government really thought that submarine existed because of this movie. And the Caterpillar propulsion isn't a thing that exists. It's hilarious. It's just fantasy.
Well, it's funny they spend so much time talking about it, and for a movie that's like so obsessed with like the nuts and bolts, they're like, it's a Caterpillar propulsion system where it just moves the water through, and it sounds like it could be a whale humping. And then, but then they never even once attempt to try and like explain the possibility, like make it. Which is fine. It's not about that. But like the type of movie
No,
that
right.
it is, you think it would be like Jack Ryan would be like, "Oh, this is crazy. This is how it works." And
right. He's like, I've read about
conversation
this.
about like theoretically, this is how it would work. Other than it's like, my God, they did it. The crazy bastards did it, and it's silent.
Yeah.
But it's just like, did what? Why couldn't we do it? We couldn't get it to work. Like, what is it? Like, I don't know. For a guy who's so
I know,
obsessed with
right.
so obsessed with subs, you would think, but
What I'm like, it's still like a propulsion system. So like that's what's cool is like the sonar dude was like, well, I can hear it, but it's tricking our sonar. Like that's that's fun. That works.
That
but
is what's cool, yeah. Because it's like,
yeah.
I just want to watch a movie that's. I want to watch like a sonar horror movie now more. Something.
God,
like
dude,
that.
that'd be
Yeah.
so sick. Well, I want to see that one underwater with like Kirsten Stewart or
Kristen
something. Who was
Stewart. It's
who was
good.
the girl? Yeah, it's Kristen
Kristen
Stewart.
Stewart.
Yeah, I want to see that.
It's
Anyways.
it's pretty good.
Can I just say one cute little fact? At the end when Alec Baldwin gets to finally sleep on an airplane because
That's nice,
you
yeah.
know the Cold War's over and we have no more fear and kids don't have to hide under their desks anymore. That teddy bear that he's sitting next to is the same teddy bear from Die Hard.
Oh,
The one that he wants to get to his, it's all about getting it to the kids.
That you know
So
what?
that's
you,
cute.
You do say things often like cute facts and like things like that. You do say cute, but that actually was a cute fact. That was cute.
That's sweet.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier budgets and such. Why don't you let the folks know how much this movie
Yeah.
costs and such? And I will pull up our one person that interacts with us on Reddit.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, this was like a 30 million budget is the estimate. That's probably to me I feel like that's perfect. It's right in the pocket.
Yeah.
This is 1990, 30 million. It's like I bet it was like 20 million to shoot and then 30 or 10 million for distro. That totally tracks.
Yeah.
Its worldwide gross was 200 million,
Oof.
which is phenomenal. That's a great, but it's already it's kind of like a, hit it out of the ballpark, kind of a softball pitch because it's like he's already shot. Like I said, this guy had like a 10-year run of great movies.
Yeah.
And so he's already done the guy from Die Hard, it's like that. I'm sure that was in the
See, like, I want to do
the
a
posters.
big boy movie. And so he's like, I'm going to
Yeah.
do Tom Clancy. He's the biggest of big boys. And then...
Right. Well, and like Tom Clancy, freaking, he was bought. This book was optioned like in '84 when it was written, and like Tom Clancy's just been mainstay. That's how come there's like Jack Reacher and Jack whatever and all of his characters. I can't whoever.
Yeah, if Tom Clancy's your
He's created
thing,
a bunch.
I get it. Tom Clancy's not for me. You know what I mean? Like, and this movie, when it said Tom Clancy in the credits, I was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm in for. It's because it's
Right,
like
kinda.
I kind of know I just know his vibe. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm not even seeing that many Tom Clancy movies necessarily, but it's just like I definitely know what he's going for. Even I played more of his video games, I guess, if you will, and they have the same kind of thing. But but they make better video games. I would play the fuck out of a Hunt for Red October video game.
Oh, dude, that would actually be really sick.
Right.
Okay, there's
You're doing,
got to be
like-
like a sub. There's got to be a
some
submarine.
cool indie sub games,
So-
but yeah, I want a good
Yeah.
like fucking Cold War where I gotta like navigate sonar and shit. Anyway, that'd be great.
Holy crap, dude! This movie was in theaters for 43 weeks.
That's crazy.
That's bonkers,
Do you
dude. That's
remember?
a long. That's
you
a long
remember
time.
when movies used to be in theaters for a long time, and now they're only
For a
in
long
theaters for
time.
like a month, even if they're very popular?
Dude, yes,
that.
that's crazy. But we are getting this like there is this like reoccurrence of films being distributed and then taken off, put on like VOD, and then like 9 months later getting a re-release, which has been kind of interesting.
We
And
have been seeing
dude,
way
I'm-
more re-releases, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to see the like advent of doing of TV shows or like of other video on demand movies getting like a theatrical release because it's all digital now, and so like it would be really interesting
yeah.
to see like Netflix do that. Put their
Right, yeah. Other than their
films.
huge ones that they have to put in the theater so that it'll be Oscar worthy, or so that
Right.
it'll fit
Right.
the guidelines.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'd love to see him do some things like that, just like, or like, yeah, limited series runs or something in theaters. That'd be pretty dope. I know that's crazy. He made that much money. I'm glad when I started watching. I almost mentioned it last time. I confused this with October Sky, and so I was gonna be like,
way different. Yeah.
yeah, way different. But I was like, oh yeah, this movie's also got what's his face in it, Tobey Maguire. Or it's like, nope, not that movie. But
No.
no, I watched this first movie. I told you, I think, in a Kurt Wood's classroom, but I was goofing off. I was being a goof off, so I didn't actually watch it in high school. Remember that guy? Anyway,
Well, I do.
so-
Yeah, Kerwood.
So we can talk about him afterwards. But so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna stay tuned for check out our Patreon. We've got bonus content. All right,
So
let's listen to our
Clones
good friend.
Clones of People 2 says, first watch of this, and it's exciting knowing that it was a John McTiernan off the back of Predator and Die Hard. I quite enjoyed this, and the story was fun. The film was paced well and with great editing that made the story move quickly with a lot going on. There was a great cast, and it was nice seeing good actors pop up at random. The story takes place in 18 days, so to cut that down to something that feels nonstop was great. Yeah, we didn't even really mention the editing, which was a high point. Like, honestly,
It did. Yeah.
anytime something's well paced, 9 times out of 10, you can thank the editor for that.
Right. 100%. Like they did a really good job with going, like, as much as I hate that they go to land and stuff and back and forth, it actually does help show time passage. So, yeah, it was great.
He goes on to say, the selling point of this film was probably the story, and although I enjoyed being swept up in it, I did start feeling fatigued by it towards the end. Felt like it was ending around when the two submarines met, but it just kept going. I did find it funny how many scenes had the same plot structure where Jack would have to convince someone of something outlandish and then would be immediately proven correct. Yeah, right?
Dude, yes. That is, dude, that's aptly succinct
It
to
is,
how
that
it
is.
it's so silly how every time he's like, that's exactly what I read in a book. Like his, like he's not strong, but he's smart.
Well, the first time he does it, really, like in that when he has the meeting with the fucking Secretary of Defense or whatever in that boardroom, that's a great scene. Like, that is a great scene.
It is a good scene.
Anyways, overall, an enjoyable, well-made thriller, 8 out of 10. Thank you for that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. As I say, because even though I didn't enjoy it as much with you, I agree with all your points, Because it's like, I do think it's like, the plot's there, it's well stretched out. Like, I don't know. I do feel like we've been kind of harsh
it's fun.
on it, but
Right. It's like, it's weird because I kind of like anything with like cops or military. It's like it's propaganda, but it is fun to watch. Like it feels factual because, like I said earlier, they technically work with everybody in this field. So like any part that they play, they've worked with somebody who actually does that job. And so it's kind of wild to think about, like, these people do exist and this job is real. And like it's funny in the making of that I posted on our Reddit, they like talk about how like they're working with them, and then if something classified comes up, they have to like leave. They have to like actually get off the ship or something, or go in the other room. So they can't like be part of it. And it's like it's so like fascinating. Where I'm like, God, what have we done? It's like 1,000 years ago we weren't even close to this, and it's like,
I know
here we are, man.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Pretty amazing, right?
Amazing in its truest word.
Yeah. So, I don't. Is the poll over yet? Anyway, that's all I got to say about Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
Tell us if you haven't commented, come tell us your thoughts on it. If you think we're a bunch of fucking know-it-all jerks, naysayers, and this is the best movie ever made, I want to hear it. I want to hear all.
Let us
about
know
it.
if you're on YouTube. Please leave a comment, baby. Let us know what we got wrong, because that's actually one of my favorite things to know. I love to know it. Yeah,
I love it. Even though a lot of the times Jordan and I are in agreement, more or less, not always, but more or less, it's like, doesn't mean that we always just need to hear. Like, I want to hear anything about these movies, I like rapping about them, shit.
Yeah.
We're going to have to flip a coin or something. We'll talk about it. And so we're gonna just keep talking about more movie stuff and do corrections in a bonus off the air after hours type fucking thing. We'll see how it goes. In there we can decide for sure which movie we're watching next week for the final dad movie of the month because it is tied, and it ended. The polls closed. It's tied between Training Day and Royal Tenenbaums. You know what?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one.
I didn't vote.
Oh,
I just realized
okay.
I didn't vote.
Well,
it's like
we're gonna do it. We'll do it on air.
I
So
panicked.
everybody in podcast land,
Okay, we'll see.
we're gonna have more exclusive content
swear
on
to
our
God, I didn't
Patreon.
vote.
That's awesome. Okay, so our if you come to Patreon/Coldest Cinema Knowledge, you can join for I think it's like $3. It's like a cup of coffee a month. Just $3 for a month.
We got stickers.
Come check us out.
We got
You get
more.
Yeah, we got a sticker club. You get all our content on there. We've got hours of other footage, bonus movies. It's fantastic.
You like to hear us rambling? We tell all of our deepest secrets.
We do, yeah.
You want to hear all the juicy goss?
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, we talk about all the hit new shows like Bridgerton.
Yeah, Bridger. Yeah, more like I don't know, Squisherton and my Squisherton between my
All right,
thighs.
button it up.
Okay,
Let's button it up. All right.
all right.
Thank
See you guys
for
later.
listening. We'll talk to you next week, or bye bye now.
Thank you. Bye.